We dance as the city roars. Tune in loud, turn up some more. Cincinnati show, it's time to play. Sports with strawberry ice today. 5:30 sharp, don't be late. TTV, the sports awaits. Strawberry ices on the mic, energy, it's pure delight. Every touchdown, every goal. Feel the pulse, it's in your soul. Cincinnati heartbeats strong. Strawberry ice will lead the throng. Every touchdown, every goal. Feel the pulse that's in your soul. Cincinnati heartbeats strong. Strawberry ice will lead the throng. Feel the crowd, it's electric now. Shouting loud, they all know how. CTV got what we crave. Sports with ice, it's waves and waves. Tigers strike and Bengals roar. Every game we want some more. Tune it in and feel the thrill. Strawberry ice, he's giving chills. 5:30 sharp, don't be late. TTV, the sports awaits. Strawberry ice, he's on the mic, energy, it's pure delight.
Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to the show. This is Sports with Strawberry Ice and Joe Danneman and Neil. Also, we're live down here at Newport 11 right before Bengals. Now we got Chris Jenkins and who else coming in?
Muma Jongmeta. Special night.
Ooh.
We typically do it on Wednesday nights,
Yes.
but you know what's Wednesday this week?
Some
It's
big
Christmas
fat guy.
Day.
Yeah, some fat guy comes down the chimney.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Brings a lot of presents. So we had to move it up to tonight. A couple of rookies here tonight. Great timing for Chris Jenkins after
Absolutely.
his 2-sack performance on Sunday. And the Bengals win against the Browns. And then Muma Jongmeta, who has a great personality and a great story of him getting to the NFL. They'll be our special guests here tonight. Also, want to add, it is Ugly Christmas Sweater Night.
It is. I was not informed. I didn't know that.
Muma asked me, where can I get an ugly Christmas sweater? So I said, listen, man, you can go anywhere, Target, Walmart.
Right.
So he's out searching for an ugly Christmas sweater. He should wear what he wore yesterday to the game. Did you see that?
No, what did he
Kid
wear
dressed
yesterday?
as the Grinch.
Oh,
I
that
said,
was
dude,
him?
just be the Grinch.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
So we'll see what he shows up with
That'd be
tonight.
awesome.
I hope he does come through with a Christmas sweater.
Yeah, I didn't know that was him. That's awesome. But so, do you have an ugly Christmas sweater?
I do.
Are we
It's
gonna-
ready.
we gonna
Yes,
see it tonight?
it's Clark Griswold. Yes, from my second favorite Christmas movie, and it's got twinkling lights on it. They still
Nice.
twinkle.
Nice.
The lights aren't twinkling, Clark. They do twinkle, so I'm excited to wear that when we get the show going.
So, all right, Christmas movies. I ask you,
Yeah.
what's your favorite go-to Christmas movie?
So it's
Number one.
changed as I've morphed from a young person to an adult with kids. When I was a kid, it was A Christmas Story.
Right.
And then when I got into teenage, 20s, maybe early 30s, immaturity, I was in A Christmas Vacation,
Yes.
laughing at Clark Griswold.
Love
and
it.
now that I'm an old, sentimental man with 3 boys, It's a Wonderful Life
Oh God,
will
yes.
have me sitting on the couch tomorrow night at 11 o'clock with tears coming down my face.
It's
every
a great
single
movie.
year. And I won't watch it any other day than
Yeah.
Christmas Eve. I watch it once a year so I don't get desensitized to the emotion
Right.
of the end of the movie, and I can't wait for that moment tomorrow night.
Neil, what's your top ones? Top Christmas movie?
I love the Home Alone series. I love all the Home
That was
Alone
ranked
movies.
number 1 on some list I heard this morning.
Yo, Merry Christmas. Good to see you. Yeah, so I'm with you. My little brother at the time, that's when Home Alone was his wheelhouse.
Yes.
So
Mhm.
he had one of those talk boys that you could morph your voice.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Kevin
Yeah.
McAllister
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
We did some crazy stuff to my parents with that thing when I was a kid, man. I'm telling you.
No, so for me, it's one of the ones you mentioned, but it kind of goes. So Christmas Vacation is like my all-time favorite Christmas movie, but my children, when they were little, loved Elf.
Yeah. Great one.
But Elf, what's your favorite color? So I still love Elf. I'm like, for me, it's like if I'm sitting down with my kids to watch a Christmas movie, we're watching Elf. I make them, and then they're like, "Oh, watch it." I'm like, you guys used to love this.
Yeah, and I think the generation of my kids who are teenagers, and I have a 10-year-old, I think Elf and also Home Alone still plays really well with them as their favorites right now.
Speaking of Home Alone, Joe Burrow had a pretty amazing play on Sunday, and I caught up with a new name for Nike.
It took me a second. The Home Alone to Joe Burrow segue.
See,
Took
like
me a
that.
second. Nice one.
Thank you. But I put it there and I said you call it a flight 9 Jackpot Joe.
Yeah.
You know, him in the air. If you have him in the air and you black it out, it's almost like the jump man.
It's crazy.
It was an unbelievable freaking play. I don't know how he kept his knee up.
Well, you think about some of the plays he made yesterday. He had one where he kind of like did a hook shot.
Yes.
And then he had that play to T. Higgins.
Yep,
so we're
both
talking to T yesterday at his locker, and I said, T, you know, you've played with Joe now all 5 years of your careers. Is this one of your all-time favorite weird angle Joe Burrow throws? He said, not because it's my touchdown,
Right.
but because of what he did. He's like, I still don't know how he did that.
Yeah.
And so we all know Joe with the Batmobile. He said, bleep Batman. He's now Superman with the way he did it. I saw on SportsCenter this morning, they actually did what you did.
Mm.
They blacked it out and put a cape on Joe as he's flying and throwing the football. So it's been fun to see all the attention that play's been getting, and T had some fun with it post-game as well. And quite honestly, I think that's important to what the Bengals are doing right now. There is a good vibe, a good energy about this team. And I've said this on TV. I think I've said it on this show. I certainly have said it on the stage behind me at Bengals Now. There was a change in the Bengals after they lost the Pittsburgh game.
Yeah.
And there was a concession almost that the season was over as far as the playoffs.
The pressure's off.
You go back and watch what Joe Burrow said that day, and to your point is exactly what I've been saying.
Right.
Look, this season has so much expectation. This team has so much pressure on it when you have all these stars, and we thought what might be the last dance for the Bengals' big three.
Yep.
The expectation isn't just get to the playoffs. It's win playoff games and compete for Super Bowls. And when this team wasn't living up to expectation, you could feel it weighing on them. There was a black
they're
cloud
getting irritated
of expectation and anger and whatever emotion you want to attach to it inside that locker room as they were losing games and coming up short in these big moments and not living up to expectations. Once that was turned off and this team could just go play football.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it also coincides, it works out that they played the Cowboys and the Browns and beatable teams ever since that loss against Pittsburgh. And so, you can spin it one of two ways. That sure, they played kind of looser football, expectation-free football, but they've also played teams they should beat and they have beaten. But they've given themselves at least a chance here, right? A puncher's chance with 2 weeks left. And I've said all along here the last 3 weeks, I said all you can do is just try to stay alive one more week and take this thing all the way to the final week of Week 18 and just see if you get lucky.
Right.
See if it turns your way. And a lot has to go their way, and the Bengals fans will be cheering for teams they don't want to cheer for this week.
Yes.
I mean, what Bengals fan wants to spend Christmas Day cheering for the Pittsburgh Steelers?
I don't, but I will.
But that's where we are.
Right. You have to.
That's where this city is right now at this point. But if that's what it takes for this team to get to where you want them to get to and just have a shot in the tournament, then so be it. So I do think there's been a real shift of energy the last 3 weeks. I think it's a good thing for the Bengals. Certainly you've seen some of the young defensive players start to make plays, maybe feel more comfortable, maybe get some confidence. That'll be tested here more the next 2 weeks because the amazing thing to me is it's Week 17. The Bengals haven't beaten a team with a winning record.
They've only won 2 home games, too.
And they've got a shot. That's how wild this NFL season is.
The other thing is that I keep going back to, too, is the Dallas Cowboys gave us the game. I mean, with the punt. That was the first time that this season seemed like the ball bounced the Bengals' way. How much momentum do you think that brought? And then I'll go back with the defense. The way it's played, and I know it's Tennessee and Cleveland and stuff, but they are turning the ball over and they are getting sacks. They are making confidence builds.
Sure.
And you trust the guy next to you. Like, all right, I'm gonna do my job. I know this guy's gonna do his job. It seems like guys are trying to do more than their job. It doesn't seem like that now. It just seems like confidence starting to build too.
Confidence matters in everything you do, and whatever your job is. My job in particular, performance related, right?
Yeah.
When your job is performance related, confidence is very, very important to how you deliver whatever it is you do. And these guys perform at the highest level and under the most scrutiny of anybody in the country, given their job and the number of people who are at the games and watching on television. So for them to go out and experience success,
Yes.
I think matters. I think makes a difference. I asked Zach that same question a couple of months ago about momentum. I think when the Bengals won 2 straight for the first time this season, he said that's a dangerous thing. He said momentum in games is absolutely real.
And in seasons.
But that's what I wondered. I said, is that real? He said, you got to be careful with that, because if you start to believe in momentum and you believe it's going to help carry you through the next week, that's when you get lazy.
Yes.
And that's when you don't take everything you have to do every single day seriously to get yourself ready to win whatever game is coming up on the schedule. And I know that's a coach speak answer,
But it's the truth.
but I think it's the truth.
Yeah.
But I also think there is some truth to momentum week to week and starting to believe in what you're doing, staring to buy in what you're doing,
Just look at
and starting to scare opponents.
Yeah,
I think that matters too.
look at the Super Bowl run we had.
Mhm.
I mean, we went to Tennessee. Joe got sacked 9 times, and we still won.
Yeah.
I mean, that's that momentum and belief is a real thing.
And breaks matter too. And you
Yes.
mentioned the break in
Yeah.
Dallas, and it felt like this year every break imaginable that could go against the Bengals was going against the Bengals. And I believe these things eventually even out. You go back to the 2 runs to the AFC championships in back-to-back years, Bengals got a ton of breaks.
Yeah.
That's part of it. You have a great team. You put yourself in position that when the breaks happen, you take advantage of them, and the Bengals did just that. This year, it felt like everything that could go against the Bengals was going against the Bengals.
Yes.
And it seemed like that play in Dallas helped start to swing some of the breaks the Bengals' way. The play on the goal line yesterday, that was the kind of play the Bengals made
a lot
in their runs. You
Yes.
think back to Von Bell. I had flashbacks immediately to Christmas Eve in New England when they were making the
Punch that
runs,
ball
when he
out.
punched the ball out
Yep.
from Ramondre Stevenson inside the 5-yard line. Those are the kind of breaks and the kind of plays those teams made on their runs to playoffs, playoff wins, and eventually to championship games. And maybe the breaks are starting to go the Bengals' way here at the end of the season.
Now we will definitely get a big push here. This week's game and this past week's game are the same. It's the same pressure. It's just Denver is a way better team. It's going to be, and the Bengals have a losing record against teams above 500.
They haven't won a game.
They haven't won a game.
Yeah.
Yes, they have 0. They won none. So it's going to be their toughest challenge yet is to beat Denver. I know it's a home game, but it's still Denver, and they're still a damn good defense and a really good head coach.
That's right.
So it's going to be a huge test for them moving forward.
And the Bengals are on a short week, and Denver got the extra days coming off a Thursday night. So great coach, very good defense, emerging young quarterback who has seen a lot of football, because Bo Nix isn't a 22-year-old guy. Was he 24 years old?
And he's bounced around.
He's bounced around.
He played college for 27
SEC,
years.
Played at Oregon, yes, and is now playing in the NFL. And he looks like a guy who was ready to come out of college. I don't know what his ceiling is, but I think he's a guy that probably is closer to his ceiling than most young quarterbacks who are starting their first year, just because he's played so much football. The question is, can the Bengals force him into turnovers?
Yeah,
I watched that Thursday night
to.
game because of what it meant for the Bengals. And you saw a guy who, for the first time that I've seen him this year, looked a little bit afraid,
like a rookie,
to cut it loose down the field. Everything was within 3 or 4 yards of the line of scrimmage, and I'm sure they're going to take a long, hard look at that before they play the Bengals. Now, part of that reason is he has Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack coming from each edge, and he wanted to get rid of the ball. Here in Cincinnati, who can be the other guy besides Trey Hendrickson that can speed him up and force him to check the ball down, get rid of it, and then you have to have the Bengals tackle. So the Bengals are going to be tested by both sides of the football. Good special teams, great head coach, in Sean Payton. I talked to Zach about that today. He's never faced him.
Really?
As an assistant, as a head coach, he's never been on the opposite sideline of Sean Payton. This will be the first time that guy's reputation is what it is for a reason. He's a great head coach and a big challenge for the Bengals here. And I'm glad you made the point here because everybody keeps pointing to this Denver game being so much bigger than the Cleveland game.
Same thing.
The exact same stakes. Yeah. It's win or you're done, right? And the stakes haven't changed, and they won't change for the Bengals as long as they keep winning.
They're not going to change the rest
18.
of the year because
they won't.
Yeah, because they put themselves in
every single game for the Bengals from here on out is a playoff game, and it's been that way for 2 weeks.
Exactly. What's really going to suck is if they go and the Bengals do everything they're supposed to do.
And then something else comes out.
Well, we still need. Denver needs to lose every game. So we could beat them this week, but they can turn around and win next week. Miami still got to lose a game. Indy still got to lose a game. Do all that. How big is? And you get out. You miss about one game. How big is that New England loss at the beginning of the year?
I mean,
first game of the year.
How many games can you pick out?
Right.
That felt like that.
That's the
4th
one.
and 16 against Kansas City.
True.
One play.
Yeah.
One play and you beat Kansas City. One play and you beat New England. One play and you beat all these teams.
The Baltimore
games. You know, there's multiple. Now the Bengals did get one break back in their favor in Dallas, and you mentioned that. That's one they probably shouldn't have won and did. But certainly if you're doing a tipping of the scales, the should have won clearly outweighs the should have lost games this season. And that's why all season long you saw Joe Burrow and how angry he was, and he was visibly angry publicly because he knew this team was digging too far of a hole at 4-8 for this team to climb out of. You never want to leave it in the hands of anybody else. And to me, I've had multiple people ask me, text me, what do you think? Are the Bengals going to get in? I keep telling them I think it's going to be very close, but I think there's probably just too much that has to go right for them to get in. We'll see.
I hope they do.
I mean, certainly everybody who roots for the Bengals wants them to get in and take their shot. You know who else doesn't want the Bengals to get in?
Who?
Every contender in the AFC.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you're Kansas City, right, and it's week 18, and people are like, oh, is Kansas City going to lay down against a rival? Yes, they are.
To keep us
because
out,
if you're Andy Reid and you have your pick of should I let Denver in, should I let the Bengals in? Like, come on now.
Right. They would rather play Denver in that situation.
Of course. Everybody would.
Because the Bengals can't go to Burrowhead and win.
There might be a conference call week 18 between Sean McDermott and Andy Reid like, hey, bro.
Yeah,
I know the number 1 seed's up on the line here. Let's not let the Bengals in because none of us want to see Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins.
In that situation, say Kansas City does lay down, or if Kansas City gets in and Cincinnati gets in, Bengals will probably have to go to Kansas City, right, being the 1 seed.
Well, the 2 seed. So the 1 seed will get the bye. And it's still to be determined right now because Kansas City has to play Pittsburgh this week.
Yes.
And Buffalo has a bit of a cakewalk.
Well, that's you want Buffalo to keep winning, so Kansas City
to have Buffalo keep winning, and so therefore
there's so many things that have to go right, but it could.
And then you have to wonder about Pittsburgh, and is Pittsburgh going to have something to play for in Week 18? It's just there are so many permutations and so many scenarios. It's fun to talk about for guys like us. Yeah. It's also exhausting at the same time because you can't just sit down and enjoy an NFL game.
Right.
You have to wonder what every play and what the ramifications are and what does it mean for the Bengals and how does this change the percentages. And it just gets to be exhausting mentally trying to stay on top of everything, but also at the same time, it makes every game feel meaningful and have importance than just a run-of-the-mill game. I mean, think about Christmas Day. You're trying to enjoy yourself.
Watch.
And you're like in the background, like, what's going on in Pittsburgh and Kansas City, honey? You know, what are those things? So,
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. And I don't know what Bengals fans are going to do because they hate both teams, but they certainly know what it means. Maybe the Bane scene from the Batman movies could happen in Pittsburgh, and that whole thing just gets called off, and we have another neutral site playoff game where they start selling Buffalo tickets.
Oh God! The funny thing was I'm happy we're here doing this because after the Chargers game, I went on like, dude, it's over.
Yeah,
I'm like, we're cooked. I didn't think we'd be talking about this, but the Bengals still have a chance. I mean, it's a slight chance. And a lot of stuff's got to go right, but I will never not believe that they can do it. I believe they can, because I believe even if Denver, if our defense, we can outscore Denver. If it comes down to that, our offense is better than their.
And on top of it, the way the defense has been playing lately for Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Geno Stone, 3 interceptions the last 3 games, completely turned around the season as well. This defense is coming together for Cincinnati.
I'm curious of the Bengals defense. It's one of those things.
There's still a lot of
weaknesses that you're not going to fall for the banana in the tailpipe of beating Will Levis and Dorian Thompson Robinson. The banana in the tailpipe. Beverly Hills Cop. Not going to fall for the banana in the tailpipe.
Not fall for the banana in the tailpipe, man. Good.
The quarterbacks they beat, right? Cooper Rush, Will Levis,
Yeah.
Dorian Thompson-Robinson.
All three
So,
would be backups.
Yeah.
I've tried to caution myself and others that, yeah, look, the defense, you play, you beat who you got to beat, but
Right.
I think it's important for everybody to understand what they're beating, who they're beating, and maybe it's a little bit of fool's gold at this point, but if the big picture is just win games and try to get in, they're doing that. And I think it's important, too, because there's some people out there like, listen, dude, they're not going to the playoffs. Stop ruining your draft pick. It's not how it works.
No.
These guys, these coaches, these players
they don't
are
think like that.
performing every single week for their jobs. For their jobs. We've asked Zach Taylor multiple times, and people don't like Zach's answer to this about the game in
People
Miami.
don't like Zach's answer about a lot of stuff.
Good point. The game in Miami where they almost came back and cost themselves the Joe Burrow pick.
The only game I ever rooted against the Bengals.
And you had every right to. And when you asked Zach Taylor, you can dig it up on my Twitter because I posted his entire comment about this. This was before the Bengals played Miami on prime time, the 2-a-night when he got injured.
Right.
He talked about it that week because they were playing the Dolphins. And his answer was somewhere in the range of 3 to 4 minutes. And the idea was, listen, this is just not how we do it. We're not wired that way. We don't go out and lose. He understands the ramifications, but NFL players, coaches, and everybody every single Sunday are evaluated on what they do, how they perform. They're paid, they're employed to win. And even though the answer isn't what Bengals fans want to hear sometimes, that's where they're coming from. I'm not explaining it as well as Zach did. I encourage people to find that clip, and it'll give you the mindset of how coaches and players handle ends of seasons, even if they're out of the playoffs or the playoffs are a very slim possibility. I think it's really good insight into the psyche of how they handle ends of seasons.
Well, they have to be wired to win. Because if they don't, you won't make the NFL, or you won't be in there very long. You have to come in every single day wired to win a rep, win a practice, win. The coaches are in there trying to figure out how we can beat this every single day. If they don't come in like that, you're not going to be an NFL coach player. So they have to be wired like that. They don't think like we do. Like, oh, well, for the organization, it'd be better to lose. Like, no. I'm worried about, if I'm a player, I'm worried about me. If I'm playing for a contract either for this team or some other team. So I got to put stuff out on tape. Not only that, it's just that's just the way they're wired. That's how they got to where they're at.
And people would argue, look, what are the Cleveland Browns doing then? We saw it Sunday. Why would they play Dorian Thompson-Robinson other than they're tanking?
I think that was ownership probably.
Yeah,
it was a decision above, not the coaches.
I'm sure everybody watching this and every Bengals fan who saw the decision that the Browns made when they decided to go with DTR instead of Jameis Winston were like, thank you.
Yeah.
Because Jameis Winston could have made that a competitive game.
Oh yeah.
DTR for long periods of time couldn't complete a forward pass. It was incompetent quarterback play. The guy certainly has a lot of juice in the backfield. You saw him make people miss.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's got some talent, but I'm not sure it's talent for playing quarterback at the NFL level. And I understand, too, to your point, to follow up what we were talking about, I understand what winning games means if you don't make the playoffs.
Yeah.
You drop down a little bit in the draft. Your schedule might get a little bit harder because they're not going to be playing a last-place schedule now.
Right.
Now the Cleveland Browns will get what the Bengals had this year, and all that stuff is fine and good. But the draft pick stuff, to me, look, if you're going to be drafting anywhere from 12 to 18,
it's essentially the same pick.
guy, right? I mean, people are
Unless
targeting
top 10.
I mean, you might miss out on one or two guys. Maybe Brock Bowers would have been there if the Bengals drafted a little higher last year. But certainly they needed Amarius Mims, and he's looked like he's going to be a great player in the NFL and for the Bengals for a long time. So I understand that you drop a little bit, but you're targeting guys, you're targeting positions at that point. You're going to get somebody you like a lot, no matter where you pick in the first round in that teen-ish area. And certainly if you're looking at the fringes and trying to make that thing up, draft pick drops, harder schedule next year. We get it. But it's worth it to go for it because you're in it for one reason. And the reason is to get to the playoffs to give yourself a chance. The Bengals are there right now.
And if you get in the tournament, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly right. Breaks happen, and when you have one of the absolute best players in the world at his position at multiple positions, you got a shot. And they're the two most valued positions right now in football, quarterback and wide receiver. And they have what arguably could be the two best at each position. And I would probably not hear an argument of who's played better at their position.
It's the best combo, I think. Quarterback, wide receiver.
No question. No question.
There's no argument with that.
And if the Bengals had a winning record, Joe Burrow would be MVP.
Yeah, well, that's-
And Jamar Chase would be
So-
Offensive Player of the Year, and he still might win that. But Joe's going to get Comeback Player of the Year. That there's no doubt about that. And I don't know how. I guess there's going to be an argument between Saquon and Jamar. That's
Right.
going to be a really interesting argument about Offensive Player of the Year because Saquon also does,
especially
come
if he gets
with,
the rushing record.
Yeah.
Dickerson's, if he gets it.
Yeah, and they're going to win 13 or 14 games.
Yep.
It's going to be hard for Jamar setting records to pry that away, which is incredible, and that's a credit to the kind of year that Saquon's having as well.
Exactly. Now, one thing I question. I mean, yeah, go.
1 more minute.
All right. Last question. I'll let you go. Me and my buddy Matty, we're talking about this. His uncle. If Joe Burrow leads the Bengals to the playoffs, does he get in? I don't think he's going to win, but does he at least get in the MVP conversation?
Yeah, no doubt. He's there already.
Dan Oscar's
He
bringing that up today.
Better be in the conversation.
Yeah, if
He's
he's not
gonna
in
win
the
it.
conversation now,
What are we-
Nobody's
what are
talking
we
about it. I
doing?
mean, he's
I mean, I think I looked it up because I was curious the other night on just whatever Vegas odds, and I think he has the 4th or 5th best odds to win it. So to me, that's the
pretty good.
conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's Josh Allen's award to
I think
lose.
it's his to lose now. Yeah.
I think Lamar Jackson could make a push in the last 2 weeks, but I feel like this is Josh Allen's season. And good on him. He's had a phenomenal year.
He's
And
had a great year.
I won't
Yeah.
argue. I know Joe's numbers are probably better, but what Josh has done and elevated that team, certainly I think this is Josh Allen's year and his award. And Joe will get one. I have no doubt in my mind Joe Burrow will get an MVP, and it might be next year.
Hopefully, we'll find out that. The other thing that I've liked that we talk about draft picks, the Bengals hit it on the draft this year. I mean, all their draft picks are contributing. Kelly Jackson got his first sack yesterday.
Yep.
Fig Newton's been playing really well.
Chris Jenkins, Amarius Mims.
Yeah. So everybody keeps going about this.
It took
draft
a minute.
Yeah.
It took a minute for those guys because if you had asked me about 6 weeks ago, I'd have said,
But now,
outside of Amarius, I'm not sure what they've got.
right,
But a lot of these guys are playing and have proven
and they
they
needed
can
them
play
to
a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. With
And
injuries.
if nothing else, they're getting really good evaluation of what these guys are, who they are, before they make some really hard and important decisions in the
Exactly.
offseason.
Exactly. All right. Well, I gotta let you go. You gotta go check out Fox 19. Go watch
6
Joe over
o'clock.
there.
And bring an ugly sweater if you're
Yes.
coming to Newport.
Yes. Go turn on Fox 19. Go watch him do a live hit here. Have it on. I have your computer on this one and then turn it on there. Try that mic. See if that one, because I know yours is kind of going in and out there. So I know Natty had a question.
let's see what his question is.
I don't know. He said he wants to talk about some. We can talk some basketball here. We talk some Bengals there, which you are the Bearcat reporter here, and the Bearcats won again on
Two big
Saturday.
wins.
Two
Two
big
big
wins
wins.
this weekend. They will be moving up in the rankings again,
Jump to 17.
and they are starting. The next one is Big 12 but Big 12
Big 12
conference starting to play. What how ready do you think the Bearcats are for Big 12 play right now?
I think they're honestly ready, but the biggest thing for Cincinnati is this bye week comes at the perfect time because, as many know who follow the game, Connor Hickman did not play yesterday for Cincinnati. He's dealing with a little foot issue. It sounds like it's something that's been bothering him for the last 7 to 8 days. Wes Miller said it's a very precaution, but they want to give him extra time to head into Big 12 play. They said he could have played through it, but obviously you have an easy game in Grambling State to finish out your non-conference game. Give him an extra week because obviously you had 2 games right back to back. So give him an extra week heading into Kansas State. And I mean, I think it's a great opportunity for Cincinnati because when this Big 12 schedule came out, everybody had Kansas State circled as this could be the game where Cincinnati has to go on the road, and it's a huge test on the road. But this is a Kansas State team that's 6-5 out of non-conference play and has immensely struggled this year. I mean, they paid Coleman Hawkins $1.3 million in NIL money, and he hasn't lived up to it.
Right.
So, I mean, on top of it, you have a Kansas State team that's not really living up to their expectations so far, and Cincinnati is climbing the momentum. They're coming off a big win versus Dayton on the road, and I mean, for those who were at the environment on Saturday or Friday night, unfortunately, I was not there because my best friend got married.
But we own this region, beat Xavier and Dayton.
Cincinnati secured the state of Ohio. But on top of it, that Dayton game, everybody is going to talk. I've already seen talks on Twitter. My mentions have been flooded. DMs have been flooded about how Cincinnati is overranked, quote unquote.
How?
To some people, because they're holding the Villanova loss over their head. But little do people know,
It's one game. They've lost one
game to a Big East opponent who their leading scorer put up 33 points and just happens to be the leading scorer in all of college basketball.
Yeah.
So on top of it, when you have somebody averaging nearly 30 points a game, I mean, he's going to get his. But regardless, there was a lot of topic of people saying Dayton should be ranked higher than Cincinnati. Well, reason showing, I mean, what Cincinnati did in the first half versus Dayton Friday night was elite.
Yeah.
They held Dayton. I think they were up 16-3 at one point. Cincinnati
Their defense was playing off.
They held Nate Santos.
They didn't score. Dayton didn't score in the paint until I want to say 7 minutes left.
Yeah, it was close to 7 to 8 minutes left in the first half.
Yeah,
and on
in
top
the
of
paint,
it, you hold Zed Key, Enoch Cheeks, and Nate Santos 7 for 31.
Yeah,
no team has done that this season. And that's a Dayton squad that's coming off a top 10 victory over Marquette. So on top of it, Cincinnati's building momentum at the right time, but now you quickly turn the page, and if they go on the road to Manhattan next week and they beat Kansas State on Saturday night right away, it could start looking, or on Monday night, it's Monday night next week, the 30th, things could be trending in the right direction because you go on the road to Kansas State, you come back and you got one of the top 5 teams in the country in Kansas.
So what you're telling me is the Bengals are going to beat Denver on Sunday, and then the Bearcats are going to beat Kansas State on Monday. Is that what I'm hearing?
If you had to tell me I was a betting man, I would trend that way.
Let's go. Cincinnati versus everybody, baby.
And going back to our conversation earlier, Denver is a really good football team.
Yes.
Really good football team. I mean, Bo Nix is shit. He might be my age, 25, 24, 25. He has been around.
He's 37 years old.
He was one of those who took that COVID year and he used it to his advantage. Because he had the season at Auburn where he struggled, and then he came back. He balled out at Auburn his junior year. Then he goes and finishes his career at Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
And people forget that Bo Nix was a Heisman finalist
last
season. So people forget about that. But Bo Nix and Cortland Sutton have been on a great page for the last, maybe 6-7 weeks.
Yeah.
This is a dangerous Denver team coming into Cincinnati. But on top of it, we talked about it being like a playoff game.
Well, the thing is, like I was trying to say when Joe was on here, I'm not scared. Look, I think Denver has a really good defense. I'm not scared of anybody's defense with our offense.
No, absolutely not.
And our defense is playing better. Our offense has got to. Joe talked about a couple weeks ago. He has to play perfect. They might need to be perfect against Denver to beat them because they are a very well coached team, a very very good team. And yes, our defense has played better the past couple weeks, but Denver's a really good team.
I just want to talk about it. Jeff, what did I say at the beginning of the year on this show? That Chase Brown should have been the starting running back from the jump.
Yeah,
look what he's done since week 9, since taking over. Guys, he is 100 yards away from a 1,000-yard season. He didn't become the starting back until week 9.
Yeah, and
think about that.
And the thing is, they're getting chunk yardage now. That I know it's not just
a 2, 3, 4 yard gain.
He's getting 10 yards. He's getting 12. He's getting bigger. The offensive line is starting to click a little more with him, I think, and that's the thing too. You got to figure out how the guy likes to run, where he likes to cut, all that stuff. And they're getting that momentum again, like I was talking about with Joe. Momentum just keeps growing and growing and growing. And the Bengals have momentum right now.
Too, yeah, you have the momentum there, but what he's doing right now in the rushing attack is opening everything up for Joe Burrow. And I mean, Joe Burrow has thrown 3 or more touchdowns 7 times this season. 7 times. I don't think there's another quarterback in recent years that have done that. So on top of it, we talk about Joe Burrow being in the MVP category, MVP race. It's safe to say if you watch football and you're smart about it, he should be in there.
Oh, God,
no doubt what the record is. Joe Burrow
Definitely
should be an MVP contention. But on top of it, I would not want to face this offense right now. I really wouldn't. I would not want to face this offense, especially with the way Chase Brown has been running. T. Higgins is back. Jamar is doing what he's doing. On top of it, Jamar Chase, we have 2 games left. Jamar Chase is looking at, I'm not going to say he's going to go nuclear over the next 2 games, but there's potential where he could finish with 1,700 yards.
Well, that's the thing is, if the Bengals should make the playoffs, Burrow and Chase need to be the best players on the field. I don't like yesterday, they scored 1 touchdown in the second half. You can't do that.
Can't do that
against Denver. That's kind of what I'm saying. You can't, not that they had a lull or whatever, but they didn't keep their foot on the gas. Against Denver, they're going to have to. if they want to win this game, they're going to have to keep their foot on the gas, and they're going to have to play elite.
And the biggest thing for this matchup to watch, you're going to see an elite matchup. Jamar Chase for Patrick Surtain.
How is T. Higgins? Do we get any injury report on him?
He came back in. It just looked like a little ankle twist,
Okay.
maybe a mild sprain
I
or
couldn't
whatnot.
remember.
But
I didn't know if I heard anything.
But
about
for Cincinnati, I mean, that's the matchup you want to watch in that Denver matchup, because Patrick Surtain, to many, is the best cornerback in all of college football, or not college football, in the NFL.
Right.
So on top of it, you got the best wide receiver, arguably, in Jamar Chase going up against an elite defensive back. This is going to be the T. Higgins game, I feel like. If Jamar Chase gets taken away from Patrick Surtain, could this be the game where T. Higgins pops off? I think it could be. I really do.
It could be. That's the thing. It's like I can't emphasize this enough. Our defense, I do, like I talked about with Joe, our defense is playing better and they're getting momentum. But if this team is going to go to the playoffs and do anything in the playoffs, it's going to have to be by their offense, by Joe Burrow, by Jamar Chase, by T. Higgins, by Chase Brown. They're going to have to put up 30.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. You're going to have to put up at least 30 versus Denver, to say the least. I mean, this is Denver coming off of Chargers offense. I mean, Justin Herbert was hurt, and he put up, 34 on them?
Yeah.
So, I mean, on top
of that one, we still should have won if freaking shooter could make a field goal. But so many games.
On top of it, for Cincinnati to beat Denver, you're going to have to find ways to move the ball, and you're going to have to put up at least 35 on. And
I'm not scared. I think I have every confidence in the world that the Bengals can do that. It's just that's what is going to take to get that done. And so, but the thing is, like, look, we came on the show after the Chargers lost, and we both thought the season was over. We thought it was done. We were done. We're here, day before Christmas Eve, and we're talking about potential of the Bengals actually make the playoffs. A month ago, I didn't think it was going to happen. Yeah, I was, and I'm the most optimistic Bengal fan there is. After that Chargers game, like, dude, we're not gonna. I don't see how it's gonna happen. That muff punt
saved the
season. I mean, I agree with what Joe said after they lost. You know, the pressure kind of came off of them, which it did. But then the ball finally bounced their way for once this year. It bounced their way. They made a play. They got the touchdown. They got the win. It's like, so the pressure's off. You finally got something to go your way, and it's going, we might not be dead yet.
Hey, it happened. They needed a break because, as Joe mentioned, the scale kind of outweighed for the things that shouldn't happen versus when they did happen, the ball bouncing that way. But overall, I think it's a huge opportunity for Cincinnati.
Does he have his ugly Christmas sweater on too? Oh,
just a little plaid.
Gabby's got her dog here with she's even got her Christmas sweater on. Okay, we're live down here at Newport on the levee right before Fox 19 does Bengals Now. It starts at 6:00. They are doing the ugly Christmas sweater. Chris Jenkins is going to be here. John Meadows is going to be here. Joe Jeremy Gabby's going to be here. I'll be here. Hope you guys come on down to ski. It's always a great time coming down here.
I will also be here.
Neil's. Oh, you're sticking around? Yeah. Oh, it's Monday. That's right. Usually,
no coaching tonight.
Yeah, it's usually Neil has to leave and go coach volleyball.
Speaking of coaching, I just had one of my players just commit to Mount St. Joe today, so that was a pretty good event.
For people that don't know, Neil's a coach at volleyball coach, girls volleyball coach.
I did women's, and now I coach men's at Oak Hills High School.
Men's volleyball coach at Oak Hills. So you got your first one that got committed to Mount St. Joe. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, committed to Mount St. Joe earlier this afternoon.
That's awesome, dude. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So if you guys ever want any volleyball information, talk to Neil. Go.
Always down. Always down.
Natty wants to know if I'm making a trip out to Zona for training camp or spring training. I would love to, but I have no plans right now to do that. Maybe Fox 19 really wants to hire me. I could be a.
So Joe and Jeremy will be out there.
Yeah. Joe and Jeremy will definitely be out there. Gabby and Reagan, they'll all be out there for training camp, or I keep saying training, spring training at some point. But I have actually not been out there. I went to when they were down in Sarasota. I went to that one in Plant City. but I have not made it out to Arizona. Have you made it out there yet?
I haven't made it out there, no, but I'm down to make a trip. I'm down to make a trip.
Natty. Well, I think Natty lives out there though. As far as I know, you live out there, so it's a little easier for you. That's good though. So Bearcats are playing good. The Reds did make a trade this week. We have a backup catcher now because everybody's worried about that, which we needed a backup catcher. We still need a right-handed bat.
And for Joe, our good friend Joe, he was hoping that Cincinnati would make the move and try to go get Ellie Jimenez or Luis Robert. Well, Eloy Jimenez signed with Tampa Bay earlier this morning on a minor league deal. So on top of that, still waiting on that power bat.
Still waiting. Hopefully we'll get a power bat before. But, I mean, they haven't the last couple of years when the Reds have actually made moves, it really hasn't been until January, February, right before the season spring training starts. So there's still a chance, still time. I think they're going to do something. I don't know when. Does Jeremy have his ugly Christmas sweater on? Oh! That come here. You got to put that on camera. That is awesome, Jeremy.
Oh, it's in the background.
Oh, can you see it? Here, hold on. I'm gonna turn. Yeah, I'll turn my camera there. Here you see.
Jeff, we didn't get the message on this ugly sweater contest.
I didn't get the message on it. I can't find it. There he is. He's back there. That is phenomenal. So it is ugly Christmas sweater here down at the levee. So come on down. It's gonna be an interesting show, fun show. It's always a great time down here. If you guys want to get some autographs, it's a good thing for the kids. Come on down. It's a good time. So we have a chance of actually having a very good beginning of the new year with the Bengals possibly making the playoffs. Bearcats, I think, are going to have a good season here. Can Cincinnati have nice things? Can this happen?
It definitely can happen, but we got to end the trend now, right? I think you obviously want to get that drought out the way and have things flip the other direction compared to years past. But on top of it, I mean, Cincinnati has the opportunity to
How you doing?
To get if they can win versus Denver, and Cincinnati Bearcats can beat Kansas State, you're rolling into the new year with some pretty good momentum, to say the least.
I like it. All right. I think we're going to end this thing here now, but I highly recommend you should come down here just for the Christmas sweaters. You got to see, especially what Jeremy's wearing. You especially got to see that one. That was worth coming down here to see. So Bengals now starts at 6 o'clock. We are live down here usually on Wednesdays, but doing it on Monday because Wednesday's Christmas. So I want to give a shout out to my sponsors. I appreciate every single one of them. Priority Lawn and Landscaping. Make sure you check them out for all your lawn and landscaping needs, or snow removal, or leaf removal, or if you got a landscape project you want to get started on or help create before the spring starts, check out Priority Lawn and Landscaping at 513-430-6114. Also, Midwest Best Barbecue and Creamery right out there at Ward's Corner Avenue exit. Some of the best wings around. Tell Tim and Nicole I sent you. Also, check out Meyer Windows and Doors at www.meyercincinnati.com for all your window and door needs. I got them in my house. I highly recommend you get it in yours. And my West Side peeps, looking for a cool little sports bar to go check the game out? Go check out Hail Mary's. It's your ticket to the game right in the heart of Cheviot. Big-ass TV screen, beer specials, food trucks. It's an awesome, awesome place. And we will be live this week. We're not doing no show at Moorline House, but we will be live at Millions Cafe this Friday starting at, actually, I think we might do it at 7. Might move it to 7 this Friday night. Go from 7 to 8. I know it says 6:30 to 7:30 there, but it might be 7 to 8. You can join me and Neil be there. It's right in the heart of Mount Lookout Square, right across from LOT's. Neil will be there. I don't know if Joe should be there. I don't know if Harrison's going to be there or not. Harrison is actually doing a show in Indy tonight. That's where he's at. So
yeah, I saw Harrison yesterday, and he was lit when I saw him.
He was having a good time. He was definitely having a good time. We were all having a good time at the.
But we do need to catch a Harrison show.
Need to catch a Harrison show sometime. I do want to check that out one of these days. But I gotta stop. I gotta stop working so much. Yeah. But Christmas is almost here, so my hours at UPS will slow down, and I'll get back to normal life. Anyway, Like I said, we're down here at Newport levee, having a great time. You guys come on down. Bengals Now starts at 6 o'clock. They have an ugly Christmas sweater party going on. Other than that, I'll see you guys Friday for sure.
Friday
For sure. Subscribe to the channel. If I do one some other day, I know I'm definitely doing Friday. That's the only one I know I'm doing. Other than that, that's your sports, baby. You guys have a great time. See ya!
Weekday nights, the city roars. Tune in loud, turn up some more. Cincinnati show, it's time to play. Sports with strawberry ice today. 5:30 sharp, don't be late. TTV, the sports awaits. Strawberry ice, he's on the mic, energy, it's good light. Every touchdown, every goal. Feel the pulse, it's in your soul. Cincinnati heartbeats strong. Strawberry ice will lead the throng. Every touchdown, every goal. Feel the pulse, it's in your soul. Cincinnati heartbeats strong. Strawberry ice will lead the throng. Feel the crowd, it's electric now. Shouting loud, they all know how. CTV got what we crave. Sports with ice, it's waves and waves. Tigers strike and Bengals roar. Every game we want some more. Tune it in and feel the thrill. Strawberry ice, he's giving chills. 5:30 sharp, don't be late. TTV, the sports away.